Jonathan Martin made an appearance in public talking to Tony Dungy and his whole period of strife with Richie Incognito and the Miami Dolphins. He said basically that he couldn't take it anymore. Now, either his situation is drastically different from everybody else's around the National Football League, or he's drastically different from everybody else around the NFL. Would you agree?
I would say that's an area that we have to work on, and we're under the leadership of Commissioner Goodell. We're talking about workplace professionalism in the workplace on a daily basis. My direct report, Robert Gulliver, how do we make it an embracive, inclusive work environment? I don't think he was any different. Again, we're waiting for the Wells report to come out.
And when is that going to happen, by the way?
I think it's supposed to be sometime in middle to late February, so we're waiting. But I don't think there's going to be anything different or new that we're not aware of. But it's something that we talk about. We've been meeting with players on the active roster to get a sense of what's reasonable. As we talk about hazing, as we talk about bullying, as we talked about derogatory terms, and this at the front of the commissioners. His list of what do we need to do to make the game better, to make the game safer, and our locker rooms more inclusive to working in a work environment.
But in trying to figure out what happened down in Miami, Troy, I think that the question is, I mean, have you ever heard of this before? Have you ever seen a player up and walk away from a situation as a result of what happened in the locker room?
It's the first I've seen it. And I'm going to go back to my 15 years. It starts with veteran leadership. It starts with your coach starting from the top and veteran leadership. We talk about that and discuss that. What's taking it too far? In this particular case, Jonathan felt like he had a teammate that took it too far, and he chose to depart.
Did you think, and I've heard various people say, yeah, he'll come back, but with another team. Can you imagine him going back into an NFL locker room?
Well, I hope so. He's been dreaming about this level all of his life, and the last thing we want is any player. That's Jonathan, that's Rich, to not be able to play the game that they love so much, that they've come to endear. We want both to return and have healthy careers.
You would think that with someone who walked out on his team in the middle of this, first of all, the question is, why didn't he stand up sooner? And also, why didn't others stand up for him?
And again, that goes back to veteran leadership. In my 15 years in the locker room, leadership begins with your veterans and what's acceptable and what's not. That's something that Jonathan's going to have to face when he returns. You know, he made a decision to depart for his own reasons. I do believe that the players will embrace him back. I think it's a lesson that we all learn. So we're going to gather the information, try to make those work to make the locker room a better work environment for all.
I worked with Dan Deerdorf for 8 years, 8 seasons in the booth. And it seems to me that of all the close-knit groups that make up a football team, maybe the closest unit is that offensive line. I mean, those guys just live and die together. And the fact that one of their own walked out in the middle of it makes a lot of people feel that he's not going to be welcomed back in a professional football locker room.
Again, we'll find out. I can't pass judgment. We hope that the locker room embraces him again.
There's been another aspect of